Now, live from your local election headquarters, this is 12 News Now.
12 News bringing you special coverage tonight for Rhode Island's primary election.
We've already got some winners in the Rhode Island primaries, while the race for the state's top job is tight. As the night rolls on, we're live with all the major candidates.
Months of campaigning, handshakes, and debates, and it all comes down to tonight. We will see who comes out on top in Rhode Island's primary election. We have our team of veteran reporters bringing you live results and reaction from all the key races with candidates on both sides of the aisle. Plus, our longtime political analyst, Joe Fleming, is here live in studio to weigh in. And polls closed about an hour ago, and we're starting to see who the early front runners are. Thank you for joining us. I'm Mike Montecalvo. And I'm Shannon Heggie, and we're joined by 12 News politics editor Ted Nesi. Important to remember, too, the early results do not include mail-in ballots. And Ted, we're already seeing some winners being declared tonight.
Yeah, Mike, let's turn right to these results, and let's start with the most exciting race of the night, the Democratic primary for governor. Take a look at this. 32% to 32%. Incumbent Dan McKee has just pulled ahead of Helena Foulkes by a small margin. I think, if I'm doing my math right, less than 100 votes here. Nellie Gorbea well behind them now at 25%, so it looks like it's going to be McKee or Foulkes. We're looking, Joe Fleming and I, through where the remaining votes are to try to cipher out, does McKee have enough? His hometown of Cumberland still not reporting, but there are also towns Helena Foulkes is winning that have not finished reporting. And as you heard the anchor say, we have no mail ballots. So this is going down to the wire. Let's go to the next round so you can see the other candidates in this race who are taking a share of the vote here. You can see Matt Brown getting 8%, Luis Munoz 3%. So they are affecting the top of the ticket, because you take them away, somebody else might have won at the top. So that's the Democratic primary. We're going to keep an eye on that. But let's go to the very different story in the Republican primary for governor. Political newcomer Ashley Kalis has been, we are showing Alan Fung, who's the nominee in the 2nd Congressional District. He is unopposed tonight, so that's why he looks so happy in his headshot there. He won't be facing any votes, but he is going to face a Democrat who I shall name shortly when we get to their pictures. Let's go back to the Rhode Island Republican primary for governor. We've declared Ashley Kalis the easy winner here. Not a surprise. She's won widespread support in the GOP. She's got 84% right now. She will face the winner of that very tight Democratic primary. Let's move on to the next race, where I think we're going to see the 2nd Congressional District. Let's see what we get here. Yes, Sept Magaziner, the winner in the 2nd Congressional District for the Democratic primary. As you see, this was a landslide, which is what the polls had showed. We've got 54 to 16, Sept Magaziner. I was just talking to his campaign. They did not expect. They're showing me a note which I can't read. Sorry, guys, it's too scribbly. McKee won the mail-in ballots by 2,000 votes, Joe Fleming is telling me. So Dan McKee maybe... He's ahead by 2,000. Total, Joe? He's ahead by 2,000 votes. It's live television, folks. We're bringing you the results literally as we calculate them here in the studio. So that's back in the Democratic primary for governor. Very tight, but Dan McKee may have done just enough to hold on. We'll be watching that all evening. This is the 2nd Congressional District. You see the other candidates, Democrats, even further behind, 11, 5, and 2 for these three. Let's go now to, from there, we have the Providence mayor results are telling me in my ear. All right, let's take a look at the results for Providence mayor. We have Brett Smiley, I believe, still in the lead last time I checked. I'll wait for them to come up here. Yes, Brett Smiley up 42 to 36 over Gonzalo Cuervo with 94% of the vote in. Again, we have not called this for Brett Smiley yet. We want to see the remaining vote, the mail-in ballots, all the early voting, etc. But right now, he is in the pole position to be the winner of the primary for Providence mayor. And remember, no independents or Republicans filed for Providence mayor, so the winner tonight is going to be almost certainly the next mayor of Providence. I'll send it back to you, Mike and Shannon.
So, Ted, we're talking about the governor's race here. The mail-in ballots are starting to come in. I would think that would favor Dan McKee.
That's what we're looking at. Joe Fleming is making smoke signals to me. Joe, what do you tell me? He's up 2,100 votes right now, Dan McKee. Am I reading you right? So Dan McKee is pulling ahead. And Joe and I, as we watched, Helena Foulkes was up earlier in the night, and we started thinking, could she pull this off? She had that late surge of momentum, but she is not quite far enough ahead to lap the fact that the incumbent governor seems to have it together. together. We're not calling this yet, but she may have come just close enough. There'll be a lot of questions in her campaign about the moves they made if they came this close. We want to see the rest of the numbers.
And we talk about that late momentum. It really started, or correct me if I'm wrong, but started last week right after our debate, our live debate.
It did, Shannon. People at home might think, well, of course they'd say that. It's Channel 12. They say the Channel 12 debate. But universally, both campaigns said it. She had a very good performance in that debate, and they saw their momentum take off. Then they got the Boston Globe endorsement. Nancy Pelosi came. But again, might not have been quite enough. This could even go to a recount, depending how close it is. But we got to watch the rest of the numbers from here, guys.
All right, Ted, we're going to let you head back over to Joe so you guys can stop doing smoke signals. We do have team coverage, though, of the governor's race. Tim White and Sheena Lushudo are standing by.
But first, let's send it over to Kim Kalunian, who's live now in Providence. Kim?
Yeah, Mike and Shannon, the tension in this room just eased here at the McKee Watch Party in Providence as you all were talking about those results as they start to come in, giving Dan McKee that slight edge now over Helena Foulkes. Folks were feverishly refreshing the election results on their phones, and in just the last minute or so, we heard some people exclaiming, cheering, clapping as Dan McKee pulled ahead. It has been a busy day for the incumbent governor. He started bright and early, casting his own ballot in Cumberland. That's where we caught up with him. Take a listen.
We ran a very good campaign, and we did what I said we would do, which was manage the state of Rhode Island and sign the budget before I started the campaign. And we've had momentum ever since we started the campaign right after I signed the budget.
Now, once his ballot was cast in Cumberland, he hit up most communities in northern Rhode Island. He also made stops in East Providence, Warwick, Cranston, and then finished the night here in Providence. His supporters are feeling increasingly confident. I just checked in with his campaign. They are upstairs with him watching these returns come in. They tell me they are cautiously optimistic and feel good about where the remaining votes are coming in from. Now tonight, history is certainly on the governor's side. The last time a lieutenant governor who served as governor lost an election was back in 1902. And remember, this would be the first time that the governor is actually elected governor. He was appointed to the position after Gina Raimondo left to become President Biden's Commerce Secretary. And another piece of trivia for you tonight, the last time a sitting governor lost their re-election bid was back in 1994 when Bruce Sunland fell to Murph York in the Democratic primary. Of course, York would go on to lose to Lincoln Ullman in the general election. Now, again, as I mentioned, the governor is upstairs watching these numbers come in with you and I. We are expecting him to, of course, address his supporters at some point tonight. If we have a clear winner, I'm sure he will be addressing his supporters either way, hoping to give them a victory speech here in Providence tonight. Mike and Shannon.
All right, Kim, thank you. As we were talking with Ted, it was a big week for Governor McKee's challenger, picking up momentum since our 12 News debate last Tuesday.
Not to mention an in-person endorsement by Speaker of the House Nancy Pelosi this week. 12 News reporter Tim White is live at Helena Foulkes headquarters as this nail-biting race comes down to the wire. Tim?
Yeah, Mike and Shannon, we're atop the Loft Hotel in the jewelry district here in Providence for the Helena Foulkes Watch Party. Kim used the word tension when she's at the McKee camp. Here I would say there's a lot of excitement. Don't forget 30 days ago, just a month ago, there were some people calling for Helena Foulkes to drop out of the campaign to allow some others to take on the incumbent governor. And now, right now, the results are pretty clear that it's a very tight race between Governor McKee and Helena Foulkes right now. Of course, there's still some counting going on, as we all know. I'm joined live by Audrey Lucas. She is the communications director for the Foulkes campaign. Audrey, first of all, let's just get your reaction. I mean, it's within a point or so right now. Again, more votes to happen. What's the campaign's reaction to where things stand right now?
You know, look, right now we feel good. I think this is a race where you have to expect the unexpected. I think 2 weeks ago, no one expected that this would be what we'd be looking at tonight. But we feel good. You know, there's still votes left to be counted, and I think it proves that the momentum that Helena saw the last couple of weeks was real, and we're seeing it in the results tonight.
Where is she watching the results right now? Is she here at the hotel?
Yeah, she's here in the hotel with her family.
Okay. Look, turnout numbers. The turnout seemed relatively good today, though, you know, it's down from 2018. How does the campaign feel about what the turnout was?
You know, look, we we feel good about the turnout. I mean, in 2018, there were some competitive GOP primaries, so it'll be interesting to see when the final numbers are calculated, how close the Democratic primary turnout numbers are from 2018 to this year. And look, we've been laying it out all in the field. We've had a robust field operation. We've been texting. I know you said, Tim, some of your friends got our text, so we've been out there and just doing everything we can to get our voters turned out.
Well, and that's the get out the vote effort that all campaigns are working on. Campaigns take different approaches. It seemed like your campaign really leaned into the electronic version of it, which were a lot of text messages. How else did you guys work to get out the vote?
Yeah, texting, making phone calls. I mean, we've been, deploying traditional techniques, knocking on doors, making phone calls, as well as texting, digital advertising, all of that really part of our robust effort here.
Back in the studio, Mike and Shannon mentioned the debate that with the Democratic candidates, 4 Democratic candidates on 12 News. Helena Folks, the analysis was she had a good night, but that was only a week ago. 1 week before the primary, has there been any talk in the campaign that she is getting the momentum too late, and that maybe the campaign should have been more aggressive earlier on?
I think it's always easy to be a Monday morning quarterback, but I think, you have to remember, Tim, 11 months ago when Helena Folks entered this race, no one knew who she was. I mean, we started at 0%, and it was, it's a long marathon, not a sprint, and I know it was very important to Helena that we get out her positive vision for Rhode Island, and particularly, her strong focus on education, so that's what we did. And I think, in addition to the great night that she had at your debate, she had an excellent night on Channel 10's debate a couple weeks before that, and WPRI. So, we feel good about the campaign that we've run.
All right, Audrey Lucas, Communications Director for the Folks campaign. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. Thanks so much, Tim.
All right, well, a lot of nail biting here on at the top, the Aloft Hotel in Providence, as they are watching the results come in on the screen behind us. Channel 12 is on the screen and watching the numbers very closely. We'll check back in with you later when we know what happened.
All right, Tim, thank you. Secretary of State and candidate for Rhode Island Governor Nellie Gorbea is hoping to be the next leader of the state as well.
We were able to catch up with her around 7:30 tonight, a half hour before the polls closed. She told us she has been able to really get a feel for what voters want in their next governor on the campaign trail.
We ran a campaign that was really touching a nerve with people out in the community. I know that what we need is to make sure that our economy is more equitable and just. Wherever I go, everywhere in Rhode Island, people are feeling the stress of housing that's unaffordable, education that isn't meeting their families' needs, and a climate that's changing as we speak, as we talk about the third flooding in as many times.
This Democratic primary turned into a dogfight over the last couple of weeks. We're, of course, keeping an eye on all of the races. You can see the results scrolling at the bottom of your screen. Now, on the Republican side of things, Ashley Kalus swiftly declared the winner of this primary for governor today.
Kalus came out strong and was the heavy favorite against opponent Jonathan Riccitelli. Let's send it over to 12 News reporter Sheena Losciuto, who's live in Warwick with the winner of the Republican primary. Sheena?
Right now we're live at the Radisson in Warwick. Inside, a lot of familiar faces with the Rhode Island Republican Party, many of them just rallying behind the woman next to me right now, Ashley Kalus, as we know, who's now officially moving forward in the governor's race. Tell me what's going through your mind tonight as we're watching all these results coming in.
I'm just so excited and honored, very happy about the results in my race, and I'm looking forward to the race that's coming forward, right? It looks like Dan McKee may squeak it out, which, listen, I believe that Rhode Island is sick of career politicians, they're sick of the corruption, and they're basically sick of everything that Dan McKee brings to the table.
And inside, there was a lot of talk about how the Republican Party has a lot of momentum in Rhode Island right now, a lot of excitement. Can you talk about that and what you've seen so far?
Yeah, we're united as a party. This year, everybody understands that this is about the future of the state. And what is really important is that we focus on making Rhode Island an affordable place to live, work, and raise a family, and moving Rhode Island forward. But we are united as a party. We are ready to go into November.
And historically, Rhode Island has voted blue. So have you noticed anything talking to voters about if you could change their minds?
I know that voters, and what I'm hearing is that voters are looking at a person over party first, and they want change. And so if Rhode Island wants change, then I'll win. We can no longer go back to the old days of corrupt politics, and that's exactly what Dan McKee represents. He's under FBI investigation, and he represents sort of the worst of politics. And what we need is a leader that can bring us into the future, somebody that has vision and substance and is a problem solver, and that's what I am. And I look forward to doing that for Rhode Island, for all of Rhode Island.
And I know inside everyone is on their phones refreshing the results. What's the rest of the night look like for you?
For me, we get to go in. I get to talk to the individuals in there, thank everyone, and see my kids, my husband. And then what we're going to do is we're going to get ready for a fight. This is going to be a fight for the future of our state, for what we can be. And so I'm very excited for what's coming up. And I believe that our message is the right one, which is that we are ready for change. Rhode Island can be the most affordable place to live, work, and raise a family. We can fix our schools, we can get things done, but we need a change in leadership.
All right, thanks so much. Mike Shannon will continue tracking everything that happens tonight, but for now, back to you guys.
All right, Sheena, thank you. And turning now to another big race we're watching, the Rhode Island Congressional District 2 race.
The race is chock full of candidates looking to replace longtime Congressman Jim Langevin. There are 6 Democrats in the primary, and Sept has been declared the winner.
Magaziner will go up against Republican Alan Fung. He ran unopposed in the Republican primary. For the latest, let's send it over to 12 News reporter Kayla Fish, who is live at the Greenwood Inn in Warwick. Kayla.
Hey, Mike and Shannon. Well, there is plenty of excitement here in Warwick. There was actually a huge cheer from the crowd of supporters of Seth Magaziner at his watch party when our 12 News broadcast cut in around 8:30 this evening to call the race in Magaziner's favor. And again, that was around 8:30. It was just before 9 o'clock when Seth Magaziner arrived here at his watch party to address his supporters. Take a listen to what he had to say.
And most of all, a big thank you to the voters of Rhode Island for this tremendous message. Our campaign is not about me. It is about making sure that we live in a state and in a country where everyone who is willing to work hard has a chance to succeed and build a good life for themselves and their families. It's about making sure that fundamental rights, and in particular the right of women to make their own health care decisions, is protected in this state and in every state. It's about making sure that we protect Social Security and Medicare and the Affordable Care Act against the concerted Republican efforts to take away those benefits that people paid for and earned, and we are going to stop them from doing that.
Now again, Magaziner had been considered one of the front runner in this Democratic primary. He had been leading most of the polling in this race. He also had the support of Jim Langevin, whose seat he and the Democrats are hoping to continue to control come November. And now we know that the general election matchup is set. Seth Magaziner will be facing longtime Cranston Mayor Republican Alan Fung, who, as you guys mentioned, ran unopposed in this primary. Also on the ballot is independent candidate Bill Gilbert. So we will continue to track what's going on here at this watch party. Again, the race has been called for Magaziner. We'll check back with him in about 15 minutes or so. But for now, we'll send it back to you, Mike and Shannon.
All right, Kayla, thank you. Before we go to the Providence mayoral race, we do want to get an update on the governor's race, because as we've been saying all night, it is a tight one between the current incumbent governor, Dan McKee, and Helena Foulkes, all coming down to really mail-in votes and early voting. Ted Nisi's been watching this all night. I don't know if we can take Ted in our shot here, but Ted, what are you hearing now about the numbers coming in?
We're going to go to Steph, but before we go to Steph, I just what we wanted to point out is that the governor's race has gotten, I'll get right in the shot with you. Come
on in, Ted.
We're going to Steph in a sec, but we just want to tell you that we think Dan McKee is pulling ahead, and so we think it's going to be all right for Dan McKee tonight. So we're looking at that now, and we're going to toss to Steph Machado from here, who has a live interview in Providence. Let's go to Steph. I heard they're losing Steph, so I'll keep explaining to you what.
In the lead on the Can you guys hear me? So we're here at the Narragansett Brewery at Brett Smiley's party. Very excited supporters here. They were cheering when they saw on Channel 12 on the TV screens that he's in the lead on the machine count votes and the mail ballots that have been uploaded so far to the Board of Elections website. But the race hasn't been called. We don't have the early votes in yet for Brett Smiley. It's his second time running for mayor. He is not here yet at his party. He's waiting for the race to be called before he comes here to his party in Providence. But I do have with me former Mayor Joe Paolino, who's one of the many supporters that are here for Smiley in Providence. Listen, two of your successors, Mayor Taveras and Elorza, endorsed Gonzalo Cuervo in this race. Why did you go for Smiley?
Because the city's been broken. It's been broken for a long time. The school department's been taken away from the city. You have riots going on. We need better police protection and more police protection. Defunding the police is not an option in the city of Providence. You got speed bumps, bicycle lanes. The city's out of control. And Smiley, I think, can put it all together.
And Joe, you've been around Providence politics for a long time. You think this is going to be a close race tonight at the end of the night?
You know, it's always been a close race in the city of Providence for every mayor. When I ran, when Cianci ran, when all the other, when Cicilline was in, we've always had close races. Gonzalo Cuervo and Councilwoman Nerva are good people. But I believe the city is broken and needs somebody to get back to the basics of keeping the city clean, safe, educate our kids, expand our tax base, not raise taxes, and to try to bring an economy that can work for everybody, for every neighborhood in the city of Providence. I think Brett Smiley will do that.
All right, thanks, Joe. And again, Brett Smiley not in the House yet, but is ahead on the votes that have been counted thus far. We'll send it back to you guys, and I'm sure we'll be back with an update.
Check in now with our political gurus, of course, Ted Nesi and 12 News political analyst Joe Fleming as we continue tracking the governor's race. What are you guys seeing right now as those numbers continue coming in?
Well, as we were just saying, Shannon, Joe and I are looking closely. We're not quite ready to call the governor's race, but everything is pointing to Dan McKee eking out a win. Maybe Helena folks had the momentum, but it was too late.
Absolutely. Right now, there's 36 precincts left to come in. The thing is, a lot of them are communities that Dan McKee has won. For example, half of Cumberland's not in his hometown. Dan McKee won, looks like he's going to win this tonight on the mail ballots. He defeated Helena folks 2-1 on the mail ballots. Helena folks, matter of fact, finished third. Nellie Gorbea came a lot closer to Dan McKee on the mail ballots. So it looks like the mail ballots, which were cast 2, 3, 4 weeks ago, a lot of them, have really helped Dan McKee. Helena's folks' momentum came up in the last 10 days. And a lot of mail ballots were already voted.
And Joe, I'm just looking at the breakdown. The Board of Election lets us look at it by type of vote. Right. And you can see it right there. Helena folks winning the polling places today in Rhode Island. 24,000 votes to just under, a little under 24,000 for McKee. But he won the mail ballots easily with Nellie Gorbea in second. And then on the early voting, again, Nellie Gorbea coming in second. So you can really see how the shift affected this.
No question. I think Helena folks gained a lot of momentum. Right after the Channel 12 debate, people started to look at it, take it very seriously. The problem was she didn't have enough time, and a lot of the early votes, they didn't really know her. They didn't have an idea about Helena folks, and they went to McKee and Gorbea.
Yeah, Shannon and Mike, it's an interesting night, and certainly, Dan, I'm getting some texts from the Dan McKee team who are feeling a little relief. They were getting a little nervous with those early results, but I think right now they're feeling better as they wait for the official race call.
Quickly, guys, this is nothing unusual for Dan McKee to be in a tight race. We've seen that when he ran for lieutenant governor.
Yeah, that's for sure, Mike. We remember 4 years ago. The only reason Dan McKee is the incumbent governor of Rhode Island is because he eked out that 2-point win to win a second term as lieutenant governor 4 years ago. So you got to say this: Dan McKee knows how to squeak through in a tough race.
Oh yeah, he wins pebble slides.
We'll send it back to you guys.
All right, guys, thank you. Let's get an update now on the race for lieutenant governor and the Democratic primary. And then you can see the projected winner is someone that Dan McKee appointed as lieutenant governor, Sabina Matos. Matos with over 44,000 votes. She's at 37%, defeating Deborah Giro and Cynthia Mendes. There are also two candidates in the Republican primary, Aaron Gukian and Paul Pence. Gukian has been declared the winner. He was a special assistant to former Governor Don Carcieri, and he's also been in the banking industry for many years.
And checking in now on the treasurer's race, two Democrats are going head-to-head here. Former Central Falls Mayor James Diossa declared the winner here, 56% of the vote to Stephen Pryor's 44% of the vote. The winner of this primary going on to face Republican James Lathrop in the November general election.
This is the race for Secretary of State. It's already been declared. This is Greg Amore, who's an educator out of East Providence. He's running the athletic department. He defeated Stephanie Butte with 64% of the vote. Amore getting over 58,000 votes. Now, the winner will go on to challenge Pat Cortellessa, who is running unopposed in the Republican primary. Ballots are being counted right now at the Board of Elections as results just keep piling in. More than 100,000 Rhode Islanders voted.
12 News reporter Brittany Schaefer joins us live now from the state agency with how voting went today. Brittany?
Well, Mike Shannon, hundreds of polling locations have sent in their ballots right now. We are seeing over 90% of the results in just in the last 10-15 minutes. As we said, those mail-in ballot results are also coming in. Now, you can see these monitors behind me are showing the most up-to-date results with Board of Election officials and campaign members glued to these screens. The state agency is responsible for regulating various aspects of the election process here in Rhode Island. Deputy Director of Elections Miguel Nunez says the electronic ballot counting process has gone well tonight and will continue for hours as early voting, mail-in, and today's poll location results come in. Right now, they are waiting for about 39 polling location results to be delivered manually due to signal issues. He says over 100,000 people voted in person today, and that process was smooth with only minor issues with a few machines jamming.
We have 103 technicians out in the field who can quickly get out to those locations. Voting will still continue because there is a secure compartment on the front of the machine in the event that there is a jam. And generally speaking, if it's a rainy day like this, sometimes the ballots could be somewhat humid, and that might cause the machine to jam more often than it would normally.
And another minor issue today is communities like Providence and Cumberland didn't have enough poll workers at certain locations at the start of the day, but Nunez says they were able to shift workers to meet the demand. Now, again, we are here at the Board of Elections looking for any sort of issues that may come up here as these ballots are being counted, so make sure you stay with 12 News for the latest information. For now, live in Cranston, I'm Brittany Schaefer, 12 News.
Brittany, thank you very much. There are mayoral races that are going on besides Providence. Let's show you one right here. This is for East Providence mayor and incumbent. Bob DeSilva has been declared the winner with over 51% of the vote, defeating John Rossi and Maureen Lopez and Riari Miller.
And now the race in East Providence is nonpartisan, meaning the candidates are neither Democrat nor Republican. So the top two vote getters here, Rossi and DeSilva, will move on to the general election in November. Over in Pawtucket, incumbent mayor, Democrat Don Grevian, coming out the winner here against challenger Constantino Stratus, owner of Pawtucket House of Pizza. There are no Republicans running for mayor of Pawtucket.
Now, here's your Pinpoint Weather 12 forecast.
All right, all the early numbers are in, and I have your forecast. We take a look at Doppler radar. You know, the flooding rains that we had this morning are long gone. There's one little batch of showers in northeast Connecticut that'll be passing through north and west of Providence roughly next hour or two. Not anticipating any problems with this. And then once it goes by the area, it'll clear out overnight. We're going to set up for some beautiful weather on Wednesday. Mainly cloudy, humid, a little bit of fog in Providence, waiting on this blue line, this cold front to come through. And when it does, it may produce an isolated shower or rumble of thunder north and west of Providence, and then thereafter skies clear out. Say hello to Wednesday and lots of sunshine. Temperature by 11 a.m. at 74 degrees, and just a spectacular afternoon with low humidity and sunshine. A beautiful day. Temperatures warm but certainly not hot, upper 70s to around 80. Bay forecast looking good with unlimited visibility and that sunshine and a kind of gusty west breeze at 5 to 15 knots, gusting to 20 knots, but overall nice on the bay. And we've got a nice beach day coming up as well with sunny skies and dry and an air temperature at about 77. Talk about a weather winning streak starting tomorrow through Friday and even into Saturday. Temperatures cooling down towards the end of the week, Thursday and Friday, but at least it's dry and sunny. A few extra clouds on Sunday right now, a little warmer, but at this point staying dry. Mike and Shannon with a temperature of 82. Looking pretty good next several days.
Thank you. And there is more election coverage you can count on coming up right after this break.
We'll be right back.
Not include any of the mail ballots. The numbers you are seeing currently reflect a mix of the mail ballots today during the early voting too.
And for an update on everything happening tonight, let's turn to politics editor Ted Nesi. Speaking of those mail ballots, that's really played a huge role in the governor's race.
Huge, Shannon. It's really putting Dan McKee in a better position after he was at risk of losing in the early vote when Helena Foulkes was on top. Let's look at the results for the Democratic primary for governor. Dan McKee has pulled into the lead 33-30 with about a 3,000 vote lead. Mail ballots giving him a big boost. What we're seeing is that the later votes went for Helena Foulkes, but the earlier votes went for Dan McKee and Nellie Gorbea, who's trailing in third, which is probably going to let McKee win tonight. We're waiting on a few more precincts to recall that. Let's look at the other two candidates in this race briefly before we move on to you see they're down in single digits. Let's go to the Republican primary for governor. This one, not even close. Ashley Kalus has over 80% of the vote at last check. We called that very early. She'll go on to face the Democratic winner. Let's go on to the next race from there. We'll see which one pops up on my screen here. We will have 2nd Congressional District. Sept Magaziner, a landslide for him, just as the polls predicted. He's at over 50% of the vote against all his rivals. You see the first two here, and then he has 3 others who ran against him. The best of them only getting 16%. The others even further behind, 2 of them down in single digits. And then he will face Alan Fung, who was unopposed tonight. Republicans hoping they could win this seat for the first time since 1988. So a lot of eyes nationally on the outcome in this race tonight, not just in Rhode Island. Oh, and we have the Providence mayor results, which is another exciting race, and that Brett Smiley has been ahead. It looks like he may have enough to win, but the early vote has not been reported in Providence, which is why we're waiting to call this, but he is ahead right now in Providence. I'll send it back to Shannon and Mike.
All right, Ted, thank you. Turning now to that Congressional District 2 race.
The race is chock full of candidates looking to replace longtime Congressman Jim Langevin. 6 Democrats in the primary. Sept Magaziner early tonight was declared the winner.
We want to go now live to Kayla Fish, who is with Magaziner right now. Kayla?
Hey, Mike and Shannon, that's right. We're live here in Warwick with Sept Magaziner, newly declared the winner of the Democratic primary for the 2nd Congressional District. You won this race by more than 50% of the vote. That beat out some of the polling. How are you feeling tonight, Sept?
We're feeling great. We feel that we're coming out of this primary with a lot of momentum, a lot of energy, and we are dialed in and ready to win in November. We know that what is at stake in this election is so important. We're running to protect health care, to protect Social Security, to protect a woman's right to choose without interference from politicians, and to bring Rhode Island values to Washington. So there's a lot at stake. We know we have a lot of work ahead of us, but certainly tonight's result is terrific, and we come out of this with a lot of momentum.
And I know you said that obviously tonight is one of celebration, but as you mentioned to your supporters, around 9 o'clock this evening, 55 days until the general election, and there is a lot of work to do. You'll be going up against Republican Alan Fung, who ran unopposed in this race. So what happens next?
Well, I've always said from the beginning, this election is not about me. This election is about making sure that we stand up for working people, that we protect a woman's fundamental right to make her own health care decisions, and that we turn the page on Donald Trump and MAGA extremism once and for all. And there is a real contrast in this general election race. Alan Fung, my opponent, has said that he is going to support Kevin McCarthy and the extreme Republicans who are trying to take control of Congress and turn back the clock on women's rights, on health care, and we are not going to let that happen. Rhode Islanders don't want that, and we are going to fight for Rhode Island values, and that is how we are going to prevail in November.
Now, this was one of the earliest races called tonight. What does the rest of the night look like for you?
We're certainly happy tonight and we're celebrating, but we are going to be getting to work early tomorrow morning. We are, keeping up a fast pace. We're going to be knocking on doors, making phone calls, talking to every single voter in the 2nd Congressional District, and making sure that people understand what the stakes are. Choice is on the ballot, Social Security is on the ballot, the Affordable Care Act is on the ballot, and we are going to deliver a win for Rhode Islanders in November.
All right, Sept Magaziner, thank you for joining me live here.
Thank you. Thank you for being here.
Yep, and I'll send it right back to you, Mike and Shannon.
All right, Kayla, thank you. You know, at the beginning of all of this, Sept Magaziner was in the gubernatorial race. He was running for governor. Jim Langevin announced his retirement. He shifted and he got over 50% of the vote tonight.
That's right. We want to go back now to the governor's race. As you just heard Ted mention, Governor McKee has seemed to now pull ahead of challenger Helena Foulkes. It's been neck and neck all night. We want to go to the McKee campaign where 12 News reporter Kim Kalunian is live with Governor McKee's re-election campaign. What are they saying tonight, Kim?
Yeah, Shannon and Mike, the mood has shifted here inside of this ballroom at the Renaissance Hotel in Providence in about the last half hour or so as that lead has widened for incumbent Governor Dan McKee. I'm joined by his campaign spokesperson, Alana O'Hare. Alana, how are you guys feeling right now?
Thanks so much, Kim. As you said, the mood has shifted. You can really feel the energy and the excitement here in the room. We're feeling really confident, really good with what we're hearing from voters and the results coming in. And I have to say that your cameras were with us earlier today when we were in multiple cities and towns across the state. Earlier this morning, the governor was out there speaking with his supporters, speaking with voters at the polls. So we're really feeling good, really feeling enthused about what we're hearing from the voters, feeling that our message is getting across. So we're in a good place.
Just a short time ago, the margin was razor thin. What was it like watching those results with the governor during that time?
You know, that's all part of it, and we certainly saw that, but I think that, you know, we still felt confident. We know that that's how it goes with the way that numbers are coming in and the way that they're reported, but we're still feeling very good, very confident at this point.
And I know we're expecting to hear from the governor a little bit later tonight. What message should we expect to hear from him?
Absolutely. He's excited to get here and speak to everyone, and I think his message will be consistent with what we've heard throughout the campaign. It's about positivity. It's about momentum. He's really excited to get in front of here and speak to his supporters who've been with him from day one and talk about how he can continue this momentum for 4 more years.
And we will be bringing that speech to you live as it happens. For now, we were going to send it back to you in the studio, Mike and Shannon.
All right, Kim, thank you very much. And of course, it's been a big week for Governor McKee's challenger picking up momentum, but obviously it didn't pay out tonight.
Absolutely. We want to switch gears now to the race for
in the mayor of Providence.
Let's go
to Tim White. He's with Mayor Jorge Elorza. And Tim, Elorza came out a few weeks ago to back Gonzalo Cuervo for the mayor seat in Providence, but Brett Smiley has a sizable lead tonight.
Yeah, well, obviously, Mike, he is here in support of Helena Foulkes, first and foremost. He endorsed Helena Foulkes in the campaign just a couple of weeks ago and joined, as you say, by Mayor Jorge Elorza of Providence. Mayor, it's good to see you.
It's great to be here.
So, obviously, the numbers aren't going exactly in the direction that the Foulkes we haven't called it yet, but it's not going in the direction the Foulkes campaign wants.
I mean, I still haven't checked to see where the uncounted votes are coming from, so that really depends. But I got to say, just the fact that it's this close, we're talking about a candidate who was virtually unknown throughout the state even just a month ago.
Right.
To be neck and neck with the sitting governor is really significant. So we're all really excited and we're really hopeful, and we'll see how the final count comes out.
Yeah, well, I mean, a lot of the assessment is that she had a great past couple of weeks, but maybe that momentum was a bit too late. Monday morning quarterback here. Do you think the campaign could have gotten more aggressive earlier on?
You know, my take on it is that I don't think it was so much the campaign. I think it's just the reality of campaigns throughout the country right now, where there's so many undecided voters right up until the very end. And I don't know, it's interesting. Over the past couple of years, there's so much intense emotions in government.
Voters are sick of it right now? Are they just tired?
There's just like an apathy to it all. I mean, that's the end result of it all. And so it's really hard to get folks to pay attention. But I'll tell you what, as soon as they started paying attention, Helena Foulkes just like shot through the moon. And that's why we're at a point right now where it's neck and neck with her and Dan McKee, the sitting governor. So I don't know how it's going to turn out, but just the fact that we're sitting here and it's this close is really significant.
Another race that we haven't called, but pretty close. Brett Smiley looks like he's pulling away. What's your reaction to that race? You had endorsed Gonzalo Cuervo in that race.
So, yeah, it looks like Brett is pulling away, and I got to tell you, I got to give him a lot of credit.
He worked for you, of course.
Yeah, he worked for me, so I've gotten to know him really, really well. And, I think we're at a point right now in the city where, we're poised to really take off and continue on this path, if we're not there already, to be the greatest mid-sized city in the United States of America. And if it's Brett or if it turns out to be someone else, I'm ready to do everything I can in my last 3.5 months to make sure that that person is poised to success, because if they succeed, our entire city succeeds.
All right, final question before I send it back. Your term limited, and you're not in a race. What's next for you, Mayor?
To be honest with you, I really don't know. I've been checking the help wanted ads. I hear you guys are hiring. Yes. I'll send my resume. Maybe you could put a good word in for me.
All right, we'll keep that in mind when we get your resume. All right, Mayor, thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, well, look, excitement here at the Aloft Hotel, atop the Aloft Hotel in Providence, has turned a bit to trepidation as we watch those numbers come in. We haven't seen Helena folks yet, but, obviously as this race gets closer to being called, we'll probably see her out here fairly soon. For now, I'll send it back to you in studio.
You know, Shannon, the mayor wouldn't be the first politician that gets into the TV or radio industry. So, Tim,
all right,
thank you.
We want to send it over now to 12 News reporter Steph Machado, who is live at Narragansett Brewery in Providence with more on the mayoral race. Steph?
Hey guys, well I got to tell you, when Tim was interviewing Mayor Elorza just now, there was a huge boo from the crowd here at Brett Smiley's party. They saw it up on the screen. Of course, Elorza chose to endorse Gonzalo Cuervo in the mayor's race rather than Smiley, who once worked with Mayor Elorza. But I do have some news to report. Nirva LaFortune has called Brett Smiley to concede the race. She is trailing far behind Mr. Cuervo and Mr. Smiley. Gonzalo Cuervo has not called to concede the race, and we haven't called the race quite yet, but Smiley is in the lead, 42% to Cuervo's 36%, with most of the in-person votes counted, but we don't have all the early votes in. So we've got a very excited crowd here at Narragansett Brewery. They feel like they're on the cusp of victory here. Brett Smiley is not here, by the way. I'm told he's waiting for the race to be called. We're expecting him to come here around 10 o'clock. We'll see if we have more votes in by then and the race can be called. But Nirva LaFortune, councilwoman for Ward 3 in Providence, ran a tough race against the two men, Mr. Cuervo and Mr. Smiley, who were looked at as the front runners the entire race. She has called to concede the race to Brett Smiley. We're going to keep watching these numbers come in, guys, and we'll send it back to you for now.
All right, Steph, thank you. Of course, Secretary of State and candidate for Rhode Island Governor Nellie Gorbea was hoping to be the next leader of this state going into tonight's primary.
We were able to catch up with her around 7:30 tonight, a half hour before the polls closed. She told us she has been able to really get a feel for what voters want in their next governor on the campaign trail.
We ran a campaign that was really touching a nerve with people out in the community. I know that what we need is to make sure that our economy is more equitable and just. Wherever I go, everywhere in Rhode Island, people are feeling the stress of housing that's unaffordable, education that isn't meeting their families' needs, and a climate that's changing as we speak, as we talk about the third flooding in as many times.
Now, this Democratic primary turned into a dogfight over the last couple of weeks. Right now, we're, of course, keeping an eye on the race between incumbent Governor Dan McKee and Helena Foulkes. Those have been the numbers that have been going back and forth all night long, with McKee pulling ahead within the last half hour. And let's bring in Ted Nesi and Joe Fleming once again to kind of recap what we've been talking about over the last half hour. Dan McKee, as we've said, guys, has taken the lead here.
Yeah, and Mike, let's pull those results right up if we can to the folks in the control room on the Democratic primary. Thank you, guys. You see there, Dan McKee ahead. My eyesight's, as I get old, getting a little worse, but I see him up nearly 3,000 votes, 33 to 30% over Helena Foulkes. I'd say, in full transparency to the viewers, we're quite close to calling this race for Dan McKee as the Democratic nominee, but the Board of Elections has slowed down markedly in the last hour in terms of delivering us the results, and so we're just waiting to get a little further into the precincts, because frankly, while we love to call the race and tell you who we think is going to win, we never want to take it back, right, Joe Fleming? Absolutely. Let's just look at the second screen there, just so folks can see there are, of course, two other Democrats who are also affecting the results in the Democratic primary for governor. Matt Brown and Luis Munoz, they're taking about 11% combined. So, Joe, it looks like Dan McKee did what he had to do once again.
He did, and it looks very much like he is going to win this race, because the outstanding precincts, about 33 of them, 7 of them are in the town of Cumberland. Then you got a couple in East Providence, North North Providence, Cranston, Warwick, areas Dan McKee did quite well tonight where he won. So it really looks that way. We just want to be absolutely sure before we call this race. But right now we're leaning very strongly towards Dan McKee to be the Democratic nominee for governor.
So that's it in the interest of transparency at the moment on the governor's race. The expectation is Helena folks will not be able to make this up. And the thing people should remember is so much of it, as we've been saying, seems to be how this race changed in the late period, because Helena folks really didn't seem to catch fire until after last week's Channel 12 debate and in the last 10 or so days. I'll send it back to you, Shannon and Mike.
All right, Ted, Joe, thank you. Let's get an update now on the race for lieutenant governor in the Democratic primary. Incumbent Sabina Matos, who was selected by Governor Dan McKee, taking on State Senator Cynthia Mendes and State Representative Deb Ruggiero, and Sabina Matos has been declared the winner. And there are the results right now. Matos with 37% of the vote, Deb Ruggiero 33%, the state representative, and Cynthia Mendes with 20% of the vote. They are the two candidates in the Republican primary. Arian Guckian, who served as a special assistant to former Governor Don Kachiri. He's also been in the banking industry for many years. He defeated Paul Pence, getting more than 12,000 votes.
And getting a check now on the treasurer's race. Two Democrats are going head-to-head here. Former Central Falls Mayor James Diossa, pulling ahead, declared the winner in this race against former State Commerce Secretary Stephen Pryor. Diossa getting 56% of the vote compared to Pryor's 44%. He will go on to face Republican James Lathrop in the November general election.
Let's move over to the Secretary of State's race. There are two candidates in the Democratic primary, and educator Greg Amore from East Providence, an easy winner over Stephanie Butte. Stephanie just getting into the race here. He had 59,000 votes for 64% of the vote. He will move on now. The Republicans only had one challenger. That's Pat Cortellessa, who's been running for office over the last several years. He has been unopposed this year.
And turning now to the second congressional district race that we've been talking about all night.
And Seth Magaziner has been declared the winner of the Democratic primary. Now in November, he's going to face off against Republican Alan Fung, who ran unopposed.
And 12 News reporter Sheena Loshuto caught up with Fung a few minutes ago. Here's what he had to say.
Same thing for myself. I'm going to be in people's backyards, talking to them, making sure that they understand what I did in Cranston to turn that city around, turn it and make it one of the best cities to live in America, fixing the finances, but focusing on businesses, focusing on people. That's the same strategy I want to take down in Washington, D.C., working across the aisle, because when it comes to this crisis, whether you're Democrat, Republican, or Independent, everyone is impacted. I want to go down there to make us energy independent while we're reasonably transitioning to renewable energies. I want to fight this crazy inflation, cut some of the unbelievable spending that's coming out from the Democrats, Nancy Pelosi and Joe Biden, that's been unchecked because we don't have a balance of power down there. And I want to go down there to bring jobs back for us, invest the right dollars into our ports, invest it in the blue economy, invest it in Rhode Islanders. That's what I'm going to go do down for Washington, D.C. for all of us, and I'm going to do it working across the aisle.
And that is former Cranston Mayor Alan Fung. We do need to say that William Gilbert, who is the moderate party candidate, is also going to be in this race as well.
That's right. So Seth Magaziner coming out tonight as the winner in the Democratic primary, facing off against Alan Fung and Will Gilbert. But again, we continue to watch that governor's race tonight as well, and a lot of it coming down to mail ballots. And it's interesting when you look at that, because those are people who maybe voted way ahead of time. And we keep talking about how Helena folks really gained momentum just in the last week or so. And
as Ted mentioned earlier on 12 News at 5 tonight, there were three components to this when you were thinking about it. In-person voting today, early in-person voting, and then the mail ballot. So all three are being considered here.
But we are hearing from the Board of Elections that turnout has been decent for a primary, and that's considering the fact that we had some downpours this morning, some flooding along the South Coast, but thankfully we didn't have much as people were leaving work, and that's when you get a big rush of voters as well. Let's turn things over to Chief Meteorologist Tony Kucharka for a look at what you can expect tomorrow. Tony?
Yeah, good point, Mike and Shannon. You know, during the afternoon hours, things really eased after those storms from this morning and the downpours along the South Shore. We had some reports of some street flooding. When we look at the Doppler radar now, things are much, much better. Now, we are tracking some showers in northeast Connecticut, northwest Rhode Island, and southern Worcester County. This is nothing severe. It's manageable, and it'll be pulling away shortly. And in the meantime, very humid, holding on to clouds. It's tranquil in Providence now. Temperatures that are in the upper 60s to lower 70s, quite humid, so there's a little bit of fog along the South Shore. So what we're tracking right now is this blue line right in here. It's a cold front, and it's creating a couple of showers north and west of Providence. As the front sweeps offshore, it's the leading edge of drier air. When you step out the door tomorrow morning, you'll notice that significant drop in the humidity, and hello sunshine. Boy, it turns into a beautiful day. 7 o'clock in the morning, 63. By 11 a.m., 74, and it is just ultra nice tomorrow afternoon. Sunny skies, seasonably warm, upper 70s or briefly near 80 around 2, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and looking good for the evening commute heading home with clear skies and temperatures falling back into the mid to upper 70s. Bay forecast looks good. We got a bit of a breeze out of the west. That's a dry wind direction. That'll knock down the humidity 5 to 15, gusts to 20, 25 knots in the afternoon. Visibility is unlimited with waves of 1 to 2 feet. Beaches look nice. We're still holding on to summer. Sunny and dry. Air temperature at the shoreline in the upper 70s. Water temp still holding in the lower 70s. Safe sun time running at about 35 minutes. It's a definite sunglasses and sunscreen kind of day. And talk about a weather winning streak, which starts tomorrow and it goes right through the weekend. Though we are adding some extra clouds to Sunday, but overall not bad, a little warmer. It does cool down a little bit by Friday and by Thursday and Friday, a little fallish feel, but otherwise looking real nice next several days. Mike and Shannon?
Well, I want to say I've just been hearing a little from the Helena Folks campaign as we watch this very tight Democratic primary for governor, and they say they are still keeping an eye on the early vote in Providence. Again, one thing I want to make clear to folks at home is there are these, as I've said, these 3 buckets of votes. Yeah. Today's votes at the precincts in person, the early vote when you could go early at city or town hall, and the third bucket is the mail ballots. I think all the mail ballots are in, right, Joe?
Right.
And today's votes are getting reported. That's what you've seen on screen is 91% in. But we have no way of knowing exactly how much of the early vote is in, which is what's keeping us from calling that governor's race.
Right, and the thing is, when Providence, Helena Folks are running third, though, at this point. So, I mean, she would have to make up a lot of votes in the city of Providence with early voting. There just may not be enough of votes there. And as I said, the other communities that are outstanding, a lot of them favor Dan McKee. Maybe not by a lot, but all he has to do is break even in these communities. Right. So she would have to win the early vote in Providence by a couple thousand votes.
And you can see here, you can imagine the Folks people, if it's very close but she loses, saying, could we have done a few things differently? Maybe tried to get momentum a little earlier, and maybe they could have caught the governor.
Absolutely. If the Channel 12 debate was a week before, and she had a report like she did on that night, she probably could have. But again, a lot of the mail ballots, they started voting 3 or 4 weeks ago. And at that point, she wasn't showing any movement. It's just been in the last 10 days. She made a really big stretch forward.
And I want to say, let's take a look at the Providence mayoral race if we have that. We may have to take the other 2 candidates in the governor's race first. I'll see what my control room tells me. But we're going to go into Providence in a moment. Okay, we took that down. And up next, we'll take the Providence mayor Democratic primary. Remember, this is a Democratic primary, but this is a ball game, Joe, because no independents are running and no Republicans are running. And you see there, Brett Smiley's at 42%. He's opened up about a 6-point lead over Gonzalo Cuervo. And again, as I just said, 95% in means 95% of today's polling places are in, plus mail ballots. We don't know, Joe, how many early votes are in there, but that is still going to be probably hard for Gonzalo to make up.
It probably will be. I'm estimating there's a couple thousand at least early votes. And if you're down by 1,000 votes, you're probably not going to make that up. And there's still 5% of the vote left. Again, we don't know where in Providence it's coming from.
Yeah, so that's one of the things. And this is the time of the night where you're a little operating in a fog. When you say, Joey, we've been doing this 12 years together, 12 years on Channel 12, and this is the part of the night where, because you don't know exactly where the outstanding vote is in a tight race, it can be hard to tell. And that's what you're seeing right now in that Democratic primary for governor and in the Providence mayor. Let's look at, Joe, briefly a race that's not very close in the 2nd congressional district, the Democratic primary. Sept Magaziner, I've spoken to his campaign tonight. Boy, they are feeling good about their win tonight. He's at 54% of the vote in a crowded field.
Right. The polling that we did for WPRI and Roger Williams showed him with a very large lead. But their campaign wanted to get him over 50%. And they did that tonight because they know it's going to be a hard race in November. And they had to show a lot of strength tonight. They did that. I want to see if the other candidates rally around Sept Magaziner for the general election.
And Joe, there'd been some talk that all these other candidates are seeing on their screen. They said, well, there were a lot of undecideds in the Channel 12 polls, so we can make up with that. Looks like quite a few of them went for Sept Magaziner in the end, who had the most resources.
He had the most resources, was on TV all the time. He got his message out there, and that's what brought him over the 50% mark.
But he is going to face a real contender in Alan Fung, the longtime former mayor of Cranston. You just heard him earlier in this broadcast. I've talked to Republicans in Washington. They are enthusiastic about that race. They think Alan Fung is the rare New England Republican who can win a federal race in the 2020s, in the Trump era, where it's been very hard for them. But on the other hand, Alan Fung is facing a whole mix of issues, some of which he didn't expect last winter.
No, absolutely not. I mean, you got a problem in the city of Cranston right now with their budget. And obviously, Sept Magazine is going to go after Alan Fung, saying you left the city of Cranston in a bad position. We don't want you to keep going to the national level and making us in a bad position. They're going to talk about abortion, really hit them on the abortion question. We know from polling and from elections we've seen around the country that the abortion issue really resonates with women.
Yes.
And that could really help Sept Magazine in this race.
It's been a very interesting year in the shifts. I know we want to call one more race, but I haven't heard yet. Which results am I calling for here? Whatever I want. This is great. Oh, that's my favorite thing. Let's take a look at the... You know you don't want to tell me that, control room. Let's take a look at if we have it, the Democratic primary for general treasurer, if that one is available. We haven't given it a lot of attention tonight, but this is an interesting one. Stephen Pryor, the former state commerce secretary, spent a ton of money, outspent James Diossa, the former Central Falls mayor, heavily. James Diossa winning easily tonight.
Easily. I think people were surprised that when we polled, like 61% were undecided on this race, but none of the people really had been on TV at that point. So
yeah, so this is one. James Diossa will move on to face James Lathrop, the Republican, in the general. I'll send it back to you, Shannon and Mike.
All right, and thank you very much for joining us on 12 News for this special primary election night coverage.
For the latest election results, top local stories, weather, and sports, change your channel over to Fox Providence. Our news continues in about 2 minutes with continuing team coverage on this primary night. Have a good night.